Get ready to rumble! Bring the noise!
And today we've got the first of two semi-final matchups where we're going to find... Hello Bingo fans and welcome back to Jet Set Radio Future Bingo Season 5. It's time to see how the game is played. Race your way through the streets of Tokyo to complete your board objectives, and for every soul, character and graffiti completed, your points will go up. But look out, no one wants to get sniped to a square. Ooh, yikes. If you can collect 5 squares in a row, you'll receive a bingo and an additional 2 points. But if you think it's that easy, you've never seen bingo before. Oh, and one more thing, in this tournament no one gets to take a shortcut. If your character dies, you'll have to go all the way back to the same spot before you can continue. Good luck, it's time to play Jet Set Radio Future Bingo. And today we've got the first of two semi-final matchups where we're going to find out who's going to go on to the grand finals and who's going to get sent to the Shadow Realm. Today we've got Jakiers and Nyarsonists from Team Nyarsonists going up against Nago and Krabby from the High Voltage Electric Line Pylons. Who will come out on top and who will come out on bottom? There's only one way to find out, and to commentate this exciting match we've got the duo that thought a typo on a tombstone was a grave mistake. It's 7th Ace and Eclapricious.
Bingo.
Bongo.
Bango.
Welcome
back. It's a JSRF bingo for our semi-finals between the Nyarsonists and High Voltage Electric Line Pylon. And to carry you through it, it is the dream team. Ace, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, and I definitely am not the reason this match is at the time it is, so thanks everybody for waiting.
It's alright. Gave us more time to get excited and get hyped for this matchup. I'm really curious to see how this one plays out. I've been scrubbing back through the VODs from the season so far, just kind of getting some ideas of what to expect from this. And of course, we just did see these two teams play in the last week of the round robin, which was the 2-0 win for High Voltage Electric Line Pylon, I believe.
Yes.
But it was a close 2-0, I'll say it.
You've said it for more than 50% of the games this season, because there have been 6 2-0s.
It's how it's been. Yeah, well, I'm hoping for 3 games. I'm hoping for maybe a slightly different outcome this time. It'll be exciting. Let's take a look at the board, shall we?
Let's take a look at the board. We've got a whole bunch in Benton. 18 points in Benton. Oh my good golly goodness. That's a lot of points.
3 graffitis in Benton.
3 graffitis, and that leaves, what, 12 squares total? That's crazy. 5 in Sky Dino.
This board is insane.
Including 3 along the same diagonal. Wow. This is not like a board we've had throughout the season, which I appreciate, because we've had a lot of Kogane boards, a lot of Shibuya boards. This is a good Benton board that we haven't seen in quite a while, so I am a fan.
Yeah, so we got that 4 Benton row 1 with the Sky Dino graffiti on it. We got the 4 Benton column 4 with the 99th graffiti on it. It's less attractive of a prospect. And then you did point out the diagonal as well. 3 Sky Dino souls on that bottom left and top right with Hikage grind, Dogen grind. Could be a pretty quick rush bingo if that's the plan.
Yeah, it's always a capability. Or, you just park 2 people, go for that Highway Zero graffiti, and see what happens. It might be worth duoing that, which would be a rare sight.
Yeah, I don't think we've ever seen that in the bingo tournament, at least. Where are our players going to go off the bat? It is going to be everyone into Benton.
4 to Benton, let's go! And the thing is, for a duo on Highway Zero graffiti, all you have to do is spray the back 2 sprays that have to be done. That large, or the extra large, and the medium will save tons of time. So I'm very curious what the split is going to be for these players, as everybody is boosting off towards the darker side.
Yeah, it's really cool to see players on each other's screens as well. It's so rare that we get to see this even in co-op. And everyone is heading super, super deep. Sky Dino, Highway Zero, definitely the big starting plays here.
WebSocket's not open. Oh no. All right, teams move deeper. Krabby is the first to deviate and is headed off into Sky Dino. It appears Nago still rushing directly into Highway Zero. Will be matched by Nyarsonists, and Jakey going to be fighting Krabby out in Sky Dino. That has not historically ended well for people who challenge Krabby in Sky Dino.
Yeah, that's Krabby's domain, as we have called it in the past, but it's a very considerate split here by the teams to have our players on top going into Sky Dino, the players on bottom now racing in Highway Zero graffiti. Let's see. Is there anything else in Highway Zero, or is it just the graffiti? There's tricks. So there's potentially, there's tricks. I don't think that's going to be nearly as high priority, though, because it's just going to mess up with the graffiti route, and that is the higher priority right now.
Yep, with stream delays, we're not going to be able to tell exactly who's going to be ahead in this, but we will be watching out for any kind of alternate strategies or routes throughout, or any kind of mistakes as well throughout the Highway Zero graffiti route. And Nay seems to be just a hair ahead, 1 graffiti behind. Nay goes for tape.
Okay, that's going to slow down their graffiti route ever so slightly compared to Nago, who didn't go for the tape. Ahead on the screen right now.
I think Nay's missed a tag. Seeing around that corner, Nago just sprayed their 15th, but Nay's going to get up to 14. Oh. So something is deviated in this route that I am not aware of currently.
Did drop off the rail as well, so they're not even working towards that tricks unlock. Unlocking souls along the way is going to slow down the route even more, even if they hadn't missed the tag. So I think Nago gets this one locked in. We're still waiting for the first square of the game now, almost 3 minutes in.
Yeah, that's a very rare case. Nyarsonists, not going to be able to solidify that in. Is going to pick up Highway Zero points. That's not on the board. But Nago goes ahead, locks in the Highway Zero graffiti, but Jakey actually wins to Sky Dino grind, and now is working on the 100 tricks unlock. using that
Krabby bailing?
fancy tech.
Or Krabby's getting that one soul.
Yeah, this works for the column 4 for the Nyarsonists, but we're gonna have to see where the priorities lie. Does Krabby immediately head for it, or is he just bailing? Krabby is bailing center square, found a contest, and then decides to bail on out. And I find that to be a decision. I can't tell if it's good or not, but it is at least a decisive decision.
I think what we've seen more and more coming into this season of Bingo has been people really assessing the board for the highest value squares in an area and not just clearing out areas entirely. This is a very early 99th graffiti start here for Nago. I think they're going for Dark Wall Ride and just pre-spraying along the way here. Makes a lot of sense. Just grab that on the way out. Nay's going for top of Observatory.
Ooh, look at column 3 here. Develops as a 3 Kogane square, and none of them are particularly difficult to get to. Bottom point grind, bottom point points, and FRZ air 8. Grind is very fast in bottom point. Points is not, and FRZ is not particularly quick after that to escape bottom point. But if the Nyarsonists don't recognize this with Jakey's departure now, this is going to be an issue.
Here? If they go double Kagane here, I think that's really, really strong. It looks like Naga's going to head out into Shibuya-cho instead. Because you pointed out, bottom point for that Bingo is really strong, and then you look at FRZ and you've got Tube Soul there as well. So there's more points to pick up in Kogane. Sua's entrance, plus Tube Soul, plus air, plus those 2 bottom point on the Bingo. Wouldn't have sucked, but I guess they're just rushing straight for the Bingo right now. Because Nago heading into Shibuya, which hasn't, it's definitely the weakest Shibuya we've seen in quite some time with only 5 points, but what's there is relatively quick. You've got the Dogen Grind, Chuo Canal. Mikage Grind is a little slow, I suppose, but it's going to be Chuo Canal, Cubby, 2 relatively quick defaults that you don't have to commit for, so
Cubby is,
good read here.
You have to commit for Cubby, which is
no, yeah, of course, Cubby. I keep
struggle
thinking
bus.
It's
But-
right of Canal. But it's not.
Yeah. What it does do, though, is if you pick up those 3 along the left there, it'll force somebody from the Nyarsonists to go all the way back into the deepest part of Dark Side to try and block the Bingo. The row 1 threat has been dealt with that bottom point grind. Nice pickup there by Crabbers. And all of a sudden, the attack from Help is showing up fairly quickly. And yeah, as the board mentions here, the FRZ squares are critical for this next Bingo opportunity for both these teams on the columns.
Yeah, what's really interesting about how Help have adapted after the early Benton rush is that they've set up their own Bingo, but sending Nago out to Shibuya is really hampering Nyarsonists' ability to set up any other plays in this game right now.
Yep, the little advantage is working out quite well. Now let's see the ordering for this. FRZ ordering is going to be very critical here.
Let's go, Nago!
Ooh, Nago does get the Chuo out of bounds. Very sweet. Saves a good bit of time along that back route, making Chuo Cubby just a little bit less of a commitment.
Yeah, so Krabby and Jakey now going to be rushing into FRZ. And as you said, these squares are so important for both of their Bingos. Do they go to try and lock in their own Bingos, or do they try and deny the opponent? Is there going to be a split? Are they going to go for the same souls? Only time will tell. Krabby ever so slightly ahead on the screen right now.
Yeah, counted about 18 seconds of lead for Krabby. So that's enough time to pick up one of these souls uncontested. And he's opting to go directly into the Tate, whereas if Jakey can recognize this and immediately goes for the down tube, 99th spray was not tagged or finished, but that probably means Jakey is trying to click
by Jakey
right next to that, and it's like 99th spray, that's crazy. There it is, down the tube, picked up. So Krabby is going to be denied on that, and now Bingo threatening crossed with a graffiti here in column 4 for the Nyarsonists.
Yeah, and certainly that's more powerful than the high voltage electric line Pylon Bingo. They do already have the graffiti locked in, which is keeping them in the lead right now. But that Bingo would change the course of this game in favor of the Nyarsonists. No one's there to contest it right now. Nago may be heading out into Dark Side for this. They already did a little bit of pre-spray, but I don't know if that offsets the advantage that Nate has right now.
Krabby has picked up the tape, does a nice little hop over to Air 8. Now it's going to be a race to bottom points again with Jakey and Krabby, and that's going to be very close and very important. Jakey does abort on the grind, but Krabby has a faster exit due to some practice on FRZ exits. So Jakey is going to be behind, and there's not a lot of time to make mistakes and really like catch up on bottom points. So Krabby with
Does Jakey go for it is the question though. Do they bother blocking this if they think they can trade the bingo?
It's very possible. I think it seems like they would.
Just knowing that you're behind
rolls
I think,
right around into Kibo.
Yeah. No, I like this. I think this is the smart move. Knowing you're behind Krabby, knowing that they were both in FRZ together, and that you don't necessarily need to block that bingo. Let's go find some other points on the board. Good call by Jakey, if you ask me.
Yeah, let's take our, we've got to figure out our win conditions here as we're pushing through the mid game. First win is 16. However, that's going to go upwards with the number of bingos. Jakey, you are a mad lad for attempting emulator stall launch. There's the bingo locked in.
All right.
And this is already getting very quickly in favor of help, as they're only going to need
Sky Dino again.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it a guaranteed win. I know you get 3 points, and that'll make it the points to win. But if 99th Graffiti gets locked in, the points to win will increase up to 18. However, that just means that Sky Dino plus a square wins the game. Unless there's some extra double bingo shenanigans and things like that. So,
yeah, I mean, technically, Nyarsonists could still threaten the column 2. That's really ambitious, but, maybe if Nay had been able to work on that Highway Zero tricks right at the beginning of the game, that would be more viable.
Yep, Krabby now is... Oh, hold on, though. Hold on a minute. This could be big. Krabby is entering Kibo, and Jakey can't pick up anything particularly quickly, so it's almost certain that Krabby will be committed to a stall launch and stuck behind Jakey for both of these souls. Now, it could be a smart read if Krabby goes in reverse after the tape, but we'll have to see.
Is he going for the full stall launch? Oh, he did, but didn't hit it. Tried to go all the way to the pylons, but has caused himself quite the problem there.
Everything okay? Did capture cut on Crabbers? Could not withstand the shame of missing. Nago having a bit of an issue there, and Sky Dino. See if we can't refresh that feed for Krabby. I'm sure that's very far behind.
Yeah, I don't know. Like that didn't look like buffering or anything. It just looked like his game crashed.
That's what buffering looks like using the Streamlink reader, though.
I see.
Krabby has now missed the super stall launch twice now. Jakey marks in Kibo. We have no idea where Krabby is along the Kibo route at this point. Krabby is just going to take the safe route this time. But could be pinned back here in Kibo in a way he wouldn't like to. So we'll have to see.
What's really interesting
feed comes back
now is that if Jakey wins to both of these Kibo souls, which is, I would say, likely, Googled. That's not on the board, but doing it for the fans, I suppose. Yeah, but if Jakey wins to both of these, then suddenly it becomes Nago's guess as to where Nay is on the board, because Nay hasn't marked square in quite some time. They could go and try and contest Highway Zero tricks, but then there's the Dogen grind. Like that bingo on column 2 is definitely not out of the realm of possibility yet. There's some mind games and some second guessing that has to go on here.
So I'm going to take a little bit of a tactic from Heroes of the Storm. There's a tactic on a map where you have to get 40 of an objective. Some teams at certain scenarios opt to what's called 39ing it, and so you sit with practically a guaranteed victory on it and do other things around the map. This could be one of those opportunities where Nay could go to 63 tags and make sure the 64th one is almost instant, and essentially force out a race in 99th and see if they can't bait Krabby and Nago into it a little bit later, because they need to be in other places to secure up these squares. Despite everything that happens, if Krabby wins Dogen or Highway Zero, the game is over. So
yeah, we did see a little bit of this, I think, last season in 1v1, where people would start up a graffiti route and hold it as kind of an investment for later in the game, in the more slow-paced game. It's definitely difficult to do that in 2v2, but if you have the information or if you've denied enough information from your opponents, it can work.
yeah, Nay's just taken a long time on this route. This unfortunately hasn't been, because it started in Dark Side, it's a little bit whack of a route, as they're going to have to recommit to Dark Side a little bit and get these along the way. But that's giving Krabby enough time to mosey his way right into Dogen, and with the 18th point will actually secure the victory, because the bingo will add one more here in just a second.
Yeah, it looks like, unfortunately for the Nyarsonists, they just weren't quite quick enough on executing a game plan here. But this one went quite long, all things considered, before it was decided. I mean, 14 minutes. That's a relatively long game.
It's like our third longest game of the season.
Yeah, we have had some marathons that have gone up and towards the 20-minute mark, even. This is good to see a game that doesn't get decided immediately off of the bat, and I suppose the lack of Shibuya squares definitely helps in that regard.
Yeah, it's almost like when your first square is marked 3 minutes in, it's gonna be a little bit, which I actually find is an interesting dynamic for this board.
Yeah,
so there
I
is,
really enjoyed the start.
Yeah, 99th spray locked in, brings the score a little bit closer, but unfortunately with that 18 to win, and Krabby just on the precipice of Dogen Grind 10, will be locking this game up for high voltage electric line Pylon.
I mean, he could still miss.
So anyway, it's Krabby. Krabby misses things on the board, not things in the game. This is established Krabby lore.
So help secure game one. It was close. Some really interesting back and forth here on the board. The bingo wars, really. The traded two bingos, the threat of the third.
Yeah,
Pretty
I think
close to a row 4 bingo as well there for help.
Yeah, and I think going for the counter bingo was the right decision for help. The bingo they got was a little bit quicker for their time invested, and that's why Nay, though being able to secure out 99th Graffiti, spent a vast majority of the game doing so, and as a result ended up not finding enough points elsewhere to secure up the victory. The bingo graffiti is good, but when it's everything that's been done for half your points the entire game, it's just not quite enough.
Yeah, let me have a look here. So for Nay, they went out to Highway 0, got sniped to Highway 0, didn't get tricks, then got top of Observatory and tricks in SDPP, and then 99th Graffiti. That was Nay's game.
Well, you know, sometimes it is a fewer quantity of squares that matter, but in this case, there was a good read from help that Nay was just going to do that, and I think that just having a little bit more tactic on the side to try and kind of disguise, or not just do 99th Graffiti, but do something else while the other team was assuming, could have paid off in their favor.
Yeah, I think so. It was unfortunately just a little bit too predictable, I think, for the Nyarsonists. Like, Help pretty much had an idea of what Nay was doing for the whole game because of how infrequently they were marking squares, which meant there was a lot that they could do with that information to work around it. And yeah, counter bingoing and then denying that only real comeback option on the column 2 for the Nyarsonists helps them to secure game number 1. Looks like we'll get this board filled out relatively quickly.
Thank you.
RDH Special and Highway 0 tricks.
I appreciate y'all.
We love our stats.
Nay did go ahead and do the proper Skydino grind out of bounds, or out of map warp, to go ahead and get back to the start, which we do love to see. That makes it a lot easier to commit that long distance out to grind 20 and then only need a single death warp to get back, because it is expensive on health to do some of these. Ooh, we've reached the root beer point in this? Hell yeah.
That was quick.
Let's go.
And Highway 0 tricks the last square. even though it was the first area on the map for two of our players this game.
It's so funny how that works out, isn't it? Where, you know, a square can be so highly prioritized early, and in the same area, it's just a completely garbage square.
Yeah, I mean, just being all the way out there in Highway Zero, there's like an element of sunk cost fallacy of like, if I'm here, I might as well, but then it just doesn't really work out in the context of early game because you don't want to commit all that time to doing 70 tricks when you need to be doing that mad scramble at the beginning of the game, right? And then it's Highway Zero, and you're like, do I want to go back to Highway Zero at any point in this game? Not really, no.
Nope, it's so far out there. Nay ended up picking up Highway Zero Special, which is not Highway Zero Tricks and doesn't actually have it unlocked yet. Is going to have to do a good old long sequence to try and get that unlocked here along the back rails here of Highway Zero. But you do have to make sure to slow down a little bit and not just go maximum speed through here. But we can't hear DJK yell out trick numbers and things like that, so we'll just have to see.
Yeah. It would be nice if there was a trick counter on the screen, except for when you finish your combo, you know?
There it is. Nice co-op.
Cool. That was a cool way of finishing out the board. Relatively close game one, but it does go over to help. It's now their third game in a row win against the Nyarsonists.
Yep, that was a good one. I like the idea. Just needs a tiny bit of refinement along the line for the Nyarsonists to burn it down, bring it back. So, yeah, I like what I saw there. And look, an 18-point Benton board is just sometimes fun to see.
Yeah, there was so many points. Yeah, I hope we get some more boards that are a little bit more this flavor, that isn't just Mad Rush to Shibuya at the start of the game. That's been quite, not as frequent recently, but certainly that's how we started off the season, was Shibuya all the time.
Yeah, well, now that we've done that, we've got 10 points in Shibuya. Although 3 of those are tied up in the Hikage graffiti section. And we just have a whole speckling of Kogane all over the place.
This is quite the erratic board outside of Shibuya, and even then the Shibuya doesn't contribute too terribly much in the way of bingos.
Yeah. I'd love to make, like, easy, but go on.
I'm just thinking, like, you've got the 3 Shibuya squares on the column 5, but that's got Hikage graffiti on it. And then, you know, Shibuya Air, Hikage graffiti on row 2. Shibuya Air, Shuo Cubby, but then you've got 2 Benton and Kogane. So none of these Shibuya squares really contribute to something that's a mad rush, right?
Yeah, the column 5, I need to make a highlighter for the columns that's right. The bingos. The column 5 is by far the fastest 4 squares that you could get, theoretically, if you wanted to threaten a 4 in a row. Dogen Statue and Shibuya Grind 10 are blazing speed. Rith with characters or cutscene skip is very quick, and center structure is 0 skill issues away from being a fast square as well. We'll just have to see if that's allowed to happen. I can't imagine that something like that would even be allowed to happen. So
yeah, I mean, if the board is split at the beginning of the game, then the likelihood of one team getting all 4 of those squares is very, very slim. Certainly using that Hikage graffiti as something that you can threaten and force your opponent to go and respond to would be good. We'll have to see, you know, how that shapes up, because it is the only graffiti route on the board.
Yeah, we'll have to see. There's also if you wanted to do a double Shibuya opening, you send 1 to Shibuya Grind, and you could theoretically co-op that to guarantee it. Send the second to Chuo, since those are both quick, and then send the first one back to FRZ to get that bottom left, top right, which also has a very capable bingo along the route.
So it's Jakey versus Krabby in Shibuya, Nei versus Nago in Kogane to start things off. So Jakey's going straight through to Chuo for the defaults. I like this. You got Cubby, you got South of Hayashi. Probably not committing to Cubby at this stage of the game, though. So it might just be Hayashi and points. There's grind. Chuo is pretty decent. Krabby's going.
Yeah, there's 4 of them. There's 4 here. South Hayashi, Cubby, grind, and points, and 3 of those are relatively quick. So I like. Oh, perfect! Nailed it, Jakey. No issues at all.
So Krabby's going to clean out Shibuya Terminal here to pick up 2 points at the very beginning of this game, and Ney and Nago both straight to FRZ here.
Yep, FRZ has the center square, has the one up the diagonal as well. That diagonal is already out of the game. There's a grind 10. If we can highlight all of those, that would be great. I think that's all 3. I guess I could highlight. Got that. Yeah, there's just the 3 in FRZ here. With that V in the center square. So
Yeah,
it is important
like
for the row 2.
That center square control. Both Ney and Nago going for it, but Ney is going to be out ahead here as Nago looks to have fallen down.
And they can't get up. That's
rough for Nago because they're not in a good position to even go to the tape instead and try and do something different after falling down there.
Ney did not get the jump properly and fell a little bit short. Nago ends up sniping that out, and now Ney is in a critically bad position because they also don't immediately jump to the tape where Nago does. So all of a sudden, FRZ is danger zone.
Yeah, this flipped on its head immediately then with that, with Ney missing that soul. All of the problems I was about to foist on Nago become Ney's problems instead.
Oh. Redistribution of problems is not what you want to see here. And we'll have to see if they go one way specifically. Grind 10's very fast pickup, or if Ney tries to forego that and pick up tricks quickly.
They might be rushing for it here. Who's going to pick this one up?
Looks like Nago takes a wrong turn. Nago ends up picking it up on the board. Oh my goodness.
Very closely contested, but it's the same old story every game for Ney. Just getting sniped to everything by the smallest of margins.
Ney says, I'm out, and decides to directly bail as they will probably get sniped to FRZ Tricks 100. But Nago also bails out. Nobody wants FRZ Tricks 100. And we'll have to see where, if we're going for center structure now, as that 4 in a row that I mentioned has now been built by Krabby with grind, past statue, and Rith, and Ney is going into Kibo? What's in Kibo? There's
points, grind, special, nothing quick.
Nor anything along any important row column diagonals. These are extremely weak squares. I guess it blocks the diagonal. It does block TLBR.
Bottom point tricks also does that, but I suppose you might as well get
read
the
is
extra
for
points
that.
in Kibo.
Yeah, I guess the read is for that.
So now Hikage Graffiti becomes the threat for high voltage electric line Pylon. The early snipes in Kogane set that up. Krabby with the relatively uncontested control of Shibuya Terminal as well means that how do Nyarsonists react to this is the question. Do they go to the elephant in the room of the Hikage Graffiti, or do they not take the bait?
Ney's missed 3 consecutive stall launches and has, for all intents and purposes, felt bad, man.
Yeah, this is a rough game for Ney.
Yeah, Krabby is now thoroughly ahead into Kibo after attempting only the regular stall launch and not the Krabby special and Ace Bat's inferior to Ace Bat's method of going through the stall launch. So let's see. Ney finally gets a clip through on 5, so doesn't get the farthest option, but does at least find their way farther into Kibo, but still almost a minute behind.
Suddenly that top left, bottom right is building as Nago is getting complete control of the sewers. Kibo points for Krabby would lock in the diagonal bingo with the Hikage still threatening a possible column 5 as well. This is just everything going perfectly for the high voltage electric line Pylon.
Yeah, it is all turning up Millhouse if you are a conductor of electricity. I'm not really sure what our high voltage electric line pylons are, but Krabby just stall launches right into the dead center of the where points is going to get picked up. Goes ahead, hops on the proper points rail, and we'll have that unlocked and picked up very soon. Where Nay doing it in the more traditional spot. Oh, no.
And not unlocking it. Oh, missing the tape.
Tried to get the points pre-unlock before landing on the tape, but ended up overshooting the tape. This is just...
I suppose if you're going to get the tape, then doing it that way makes a degree of sense, but Nay was just far, far too behind Krabby at that point. With that bingo locked in, this is a huge lead.
It is GG according to the Bingo Sync chat. As Nay has called the game, it is, for all intents and purposes, over.
Yeah, I mean, this was... Unfortunately, it was almost like a 2v1 kind of game, because everywhere Nay goes, Nay gets sniped this game, which is really, really painful.
Yeah, just a couple, misses here and there, really, and clean movement from Nago, punishing every mistake, really hurt out. Yeah. Nay says, we literally did the same play. I clicked FRZ grind before it got red, but since Bingo Sync sucks, smiley face. To be fair, ping, I think Bingo Sync servers have a reasonable amount of ping to them. You don't need it to be super fast all the time, so I imagine there's a decent
our
delay.
bingo game is a lot faster than a lot of other bingo games.
Yeah, usually, seconds don't matter, but the server deems it so.
Yeah, this honestly has kind of become a hallmark of Nyarsonists games across this season, is game 1 being really, really close, and then game 2 being a complete blowout when they lose.
Yeah, it is unfortunate when they do turn out that way, because we do like more bingo. Lots of bingo is best bingo. So, with Nay back on title screen, I don't think we'll be getting dashboard. I don't think we'll be getting a game 3 for the fans, but we can talk to Krabby and Nago if they want to chat.
Yeah, and we do still have more bingo coming up later today in, 4 hours? Probably. We do have our other semifinals scheduled for at some point in the near future, hopefully, between the Fantastic Three, yourself and Sylvie, versus the Cozy Bunnies.
I have a bingo match tonight? Can't believe it.
Hello.
Hello, Nago. Congratulations on the win.
Thank you.
Finals again.
Yeah, I feel pretty good about this. I was I don't know, I was feeling pretty a little nervous. Not nervous as in I was shaking in my boots, but I was I don't know, I was concerned about how this was gonna go, but and game 1 was pretty close, but then game 2 I feel Krabby just I feel we routed very well, and then Krabby found the diagonal thing, and it worked out really well.
Nay literally took the same route the entire game.
Yeah.
Except I went to the wrong spot for the first soul center square.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of going to the first maze, I went to the last maze because
you went to where special unlocks instead of
I see.
default.
I
tried to skate the girder and then make the jump to the first maze, and I missed that jump, so we both were bad.
And then I had a shambolic Kibo soul launch to try to block the diagonal, so
yeah.
that was not fun. I missed it
just
3 times and I was okay, it's GG.
JK was just in Chuo the entire time, I presume?
JK moved around eventually, but it was we were watching the other side a lot.
Yeah, fair enough.
Everything else.
I still don't know, I feel I should have been ahead of you for FRZ grinds, but I don't know, Bingo Sync sucks so much. I clicked it and 5 seconds later it turned red, so I don't know.
Yeah, I mean it's very laggy today, I noticed, yeah.
Yeah, so that's not the first time either, a lot of games that happened to me, so...
Yeah, I mean, Bingo Sync,
It's
It
bingo.
would be
sim.
nice if
Yeah.
it was hosted on a server as opposed to in someone's home, but you know.
on someone's own
It
personal.
wasn't like DDoS every day
Yeah.
or so. But yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
I mean, me and Ace
I-
were just saying that Bingo Sync is clearly not designed for bingo games of our tempo. Like,
No.
you can go to Bingo-thon and you can watch them play Pikmin Bingo and mark a square once every 30 minutes, and
Yeah.
suddenly the ping doesn't matter so much, but it definitely matters more here.
Very much does. Yeah.
That is,
I mean,
unfortunately,
that's
how it is.
That's kind of how it is. It would be nice if, I don't know, one of our tech people hosted a Bingo Sync instance locally, but no, don't tell us to do that. Oh my god, don't get any ideas. People,
Yeah, Seventh Ace, why aren't you doing that?
Or at least
You're right,
pay
I'll
us,
just set up a
jeez.
Django Tornado, whatever server all on my own. No big deal. Easy.
Look, I mean, the way you're talking
Yeah.
makes me feel like you want to do this.
I really don't.
Then don't suggest it.
Oh, I didn't suggest it. Someone else, the hypothetical viewer, already did.
Alright, at 7th, wait, I'm going to Discord, at
will.
general, at
No.
7th Ace.
Oh yeah, we gotta bust out
please
the VPS that we
host
used
Bingo
in season
Sync.
3.
Yeah, for
Lo-
co-op.
locally, please, for finals. There you go.
No.
All right.
You're welcome.
Well,
Do you want ping to America? Because that's how you get ping to America.
I mean, I already get pinged to America. I already have to click a square to it marks after 3 seconds. You think that's fun? Like, I click,
America.
I click center square, and I'm sitting there for 3 seconds, like, oh no, maybe Nay clicked it too, and it's like. NA ping is actually not that bad. I'm fine with playing a game like a Bingo Sync game to Oklahoma. You know, only like 200 ping, 200 millisecond ping. That's fine.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
please support JSRF Bingo on our hypothetical Patreon that doesn't exist so that we can afford to pay for a server.
Please, sponsors, just sponsor us. We will do things for you.
We will do
can shill for
unspeakable
Barks,
things.
and we're not even sponsored by them. We can do it.
JSRF Bingo brought to you by Raid Shadow Legends.
Yeah,
Yeah,
one of the
season
squares on
6
the board.
pinball will be raid.
Yeah, one of the squares on the board, it's now multi-game, so you have to constantly swap between JSRF and your mobile device. Make sure that you can cross your Shibuya Graffiti Bingo with Reach Level 10 and Raid Shadow Legends.
Every center square on every board is a raid objective.
Oh god.
Hashtag ad.
Anyway, on that note,
With that
we are not
cursed
sponsored by
idea
Raid Shadow
out.
Legends.
No.
More bingo later, but as for now, we do have our final of the regularly scheduled pinball matches, which I believe is Yomsa's.